Hi guys, this video is a continuation of the day 2 notes where we went through the first 2 pages in the other video, and now we're on the 3rd page. So we're still doing the same formula to figure out length of an arc and area of a sector, except for the central angle will be in terms of radians as opposed to degrees. So remember from our trig unit that we learned that pi radians is the same thing as 180 degrees, and that's because you can wrap 3.141592 radians in half of the circle, which is the same thing as 180 degrees because it splits it into a semicircle. So you'll notice it's the same formula that we did up above, except for the right side of this is now in terms of radians, which means the denominator is in terms of 2 pi, which is the same thing as 360 degrees. So I'm just going to explain the math that's on the answer key so that you can refer to it at a later date if needed. But if I were to give you this circle that's pi over 6 radians as the central angle, and the radius is 6 inches, if I want to find the length of the arc here, so the distance, the linear distance between B and C, I know my formula is L for arc length over 2 pi r, which is your circumference, is equal to whatever our central angle is, which is pi over 6 radians, all over 2 pi. So again, this is opposed to 30 over 360 if you were to convert it to degrees, which technically you could do as well. I'll show that after. So now from there, what the notes key is doing is taking these values and then cross multiplying. So we have 2 pi L equals, and then we're just typing this in the calculator. So if I grab my calculator just to show you, that is technically 12 pi, because it's 2 times 6, times pi over 6, and that's where this 19 number comes from. Now in order to solve for L, you would have to divide by 2 pi. Make sure you use parentheses because you want to divide by both the 2 and the pi, and that's where 3.1 is coming from. Now for area, same idea. It's area of the sector over pi r squared, because that's the area of the whole circle, equals pi over 6 over 2 pi, and then we're just cross multiplying. So 36 pi times pi over 6, and that's where the 59 number is coming from, and then divide by parentheses 2 pi. That's where most students will mess up. And you end up with 9.4 as a final answer. Now, I mentioned this before as well. Technically, you could think about this as 30 degrees, because 180 divided by 6 is 30, and then solve for arc length or area in terms of degrees. So I could do L over 2 pi r. Now my central angle is 30, but it's in terms of degrees, so I change the denominator to 30 degrees, and you get the same thing. So let's just confirm that. So 12 pi times 30 divide by 360, and you'll see I got 3.1 as well, which is the same exact thing I got in terms of radians. Now, let's say hypothetically the directions wanted an exact answer for the length, so that means in terms of pi. So I'm just going to use, again, this guy as an example. If you were to cross multiply, that would be still 2 pi L equals, now I'll just leave this as 12 pi times pi over 6. So just leave it like that for a moment. Now, when you divide by 2 pi, in order to isolate L, you'll notice that the pi's will drop out, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So when you multiply across the top and the bottom, we end up with L equals 6 pi over 6, which also reduces to pi, and that is technically your length in exact answer, which makes sense because we got like 3.141592. So just a heads up in case I ask for exact answers. So if I show you the next example, Okay, I'm not going to go through the calculator stuff again. You know, all we're doing in this answer key is cross multiplying, getting a decimal, and then dividing using the parentheses. Same thing here, cross multiply, get the decimal, divide using the parentheses. But let's say hypothetically you wanted to get an exact answer for the length. This is 2 pi L. Actually, let me use the same color just because I'm going to be picky here. This would be 2 pi L equals, now this is 4 pi for your circumference times pi over 3. If I divide by 2 pi, pi's would drop out and 4 divided by 2 is 2. And this ends up just simplifying to 2 pi over 3 by multiplying top and bottom. So just to confirm this, let me grab my calculator. 2 pi divided by 3 is 2.1. Okay, so again, the point of this video was just to explain the notes. If you didn't get it all down as far as the formulas and stuff go, that's where you have the answer key on Google Classroom to go through and copy it. And this video was just to help explain what you would be seeing on the key.